if it goes live. It's gone live. What's going on, everyone? It's LFC Transfer Room. I've accidentally put a hoodie on and I'm bloody boiling, but Menti looks, chill as anything, doesn't he? And Liverpool are in a bit of a strange situation. Everyone's like, oh, Liverpool, do something, sign someone, do something, sign someone. But we've got a whole range of players that are going through a completely different situation at the moment where Klopp's gone and they're like, well, do I want to stay? Do I want to be part of this? Can Slot convince me that this is the right opportunity? Do I want a new contract to Liverpool or do I want to try something different? Change breeds change, as they say. And a lot of players will be going through a period of change going, oh, actually, do I want to go for a full change? Do I want to do this new version and stuff like that? And there's links, Trent's linked to Real Madrid. We've got Alisson's linked to a move to Saudi. We've got Dylan linked to a light, potentially turning on and turning off. And Van der Berg to PSG, meant to be PSV, typoed that, brilliant, well done me. As well as, Salah was rumoured to be going 2 years ago, but he looks to be, in with his new bald locks coming for the new thing. So we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to what's going on at Liverpool. Everyone's freaking out because we've not signed anyone, but Slot's not really had a chance to speak to everyone yet, in my view. Kev, what are you thinking about the lack of activity, so to speak, at the moment?
Fully expected. New manager in, 2 major competitions, tournaments in. He needs time to look at the players. We're allowing him to give him that time. But as fans, we're going cold turkey because we haven't had a signing yet and we want one in. I think if we had made one in, even if it was just a squad player, I think everyone would be more chill. But because everyone's lost their head over Euro, we're all thinking, oh my God, we're left with this X, Y, and Z. But this is what we've got. We've got a new way of thinking. We've got a data-based analysis that's fully in place. And we've got to trust the process, however long it takes. He needs time to look at players. He's looking at the players very thoroughly, including the academy players, which is what I fully expect out of a new manager. But we all lose our heads, don't we? But how many players have been linked with already? And I think with the tournament finishing as they have done over last weekend, I thought everyone's expectations are that we'll get someone in. But I'll judge it and review it at the end when the transfer window closes and see how we do then. But it is what it is at the minute. Just gotta deal with it.
How about you, Menti? You getting a bit antsy? You're like, come on, we need to just a squad player. But they've let Adrian's gone. That's 60 grand a week off the wage bill. Thiago's gone. That's 275 grand a week off the wage bill, which is cha-ching. So we're getting rid of a few people here, and there's so should we be worried if it's not people coming in? We've got to clear the decks, balance the books, as they say. A fucking Damo will hate that one. He balanced the books.
To me, it's just like, as a fan, it's just a bit annoying because usually we get the excuse that, well, prior to this, it was, oh, let's get in these players early so Slot has enough time to, implement his system. The league starts in 30 days. The people got to realize, I get that he's new and he has to assess everyone, but they still all got to go on vacation, etc., and they still all got to come in. And the fact, with the Euro thing today, Liverpool literally said he was going to Madrid. We're backing out all that for him to go to United. I get it. He was very expensive, but we wanted him. Liverpool wanted him. And the fact that they just conceded, I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully we start signing a player in a week or two, but it'd be good for us to do sooner rather than later because, a month is going to be quick. Next thing you know, the season starts. I don't want to start off on a bad note.
There's different versions of wanted, though, in the Menti, because there's one where it's going, do you know what? Yeah, we'll have this conversation because we think he could be a player. And there's, we'll move heaven and earth to sign you. And Real Madrid didn't move heaven and earth to sign Euro. We haven't moved heaven and earth to sign Euro. United have. And, they've gone behind all the sofas, all the way around the ground, all the leaking roof. They've let that go for a bit and they've gone and signed him. Dylan, are you panicking a little bit yet? Do you want to? We've not even played a game yet, have we? So it's hard to even think about Slot's style of football and go, well, actually, we need this, we need that. Looking at this, so and so will come and play that. We've not seen anything yet.
No, exactly, and you've got to think of what you said before. Most of the players aren't back yet. We've still got the South American players to come back, and he needs to see what he's got in the squad on a pitch level and see where does he need to strengthen, where does he need to change. I do agree I would have expected more people to have been leaving than there is, but again, new manager, he's probably looking at what's there and thinking, can I fit any of these players that maybe haven't played under Klopp into this squad? And Sepp van der Berg is one of them. He's been on loan the last 3 or 4 seasons, but he's come back. He came back saying that Liverpool were hindering his career and wanted to leave and all that, but he looks one of the happiest blokes in training. So I don't know whether that's because there's the Dutch connection with Slot, or whether he's been told, you're in the plans. I don't know. So I would have expected a few to have been leaving. Yeah.
Now, Kev, we've got this comment here. We waste too much time. There won't be anyone left to buy, Kev. There won't be anyone left because we missed out on Mason Mount to United. We missed out on Amrabat to United, and these guys got United to 8th.
It's as though Yoro's the only centre back in the whole world that was up for sale, and we've lost out, and there's no more else to buy. I think we need to be, I hate to say it, we need to be a little bit more patient. I think there's players that are actually showing a little bit more than what they had done under Klopp. I think a refresh has probably re-galvanised the actual squad at the minute. So there's a few here who are pulling the wool over the coach's eyes at the minute, possibly. But, I agree with Dylan. I would like to see a few hedged out, such as Nat Phillips being one of them, Timicus being another. But that being said, we've got a squad that finishes 3rd last season with 73 points. There's not much tweaking that needs to be done. I understand that we will need a midfield, a number 6. I know people are crying out for a left centre back. I think we just need to give Slot a bit of time, and we need to see how he develops. I believe there's a game getting played behind closed doors on Friday. That will indicate a few things, because it's all very well looking well in training as well how you're looking in actual game time. So it'll give them a better sense of who the players who can achieve and accomplish what we've got. We've got a new formation, possibly differently. So there's a lot of things happening. I think we do have things set up so that when we do need to go, we go. But I'm not getting into losing my head over players because X, Y, and Z. We've got to trust the data, and we've got to trust what we've said we wanted. We wanted them back. We wanted Edwards back. And this is how he's doing things. And he's ruthless at both ends. If it doesn't meet our requirements, he'll walk away. So there'll be things that we are unaware of. And it's not going to come out, is it? That we this is the reason why we didn't get him. But there's certain, we have to understand that, we're going to have to give this manager a bit more time. And I do think that we may not necessarily buy what we need to, and we will use January as well as a main transfer window, his first major transfer window, if he doesn't get what he wants before August is finished.
I think you make a really good point, because I've often thought this next season, I'm writing off the Premier League top 4. I think I've said it on stream. For me, Slot's going to have ups and downs in his first period, and it's the Champions League for me that I'm interested in next year, because I think if Slot's got a way of playing and we all get behind him and we do our jobs as fans and they do their jobs as players, once his style of football's embedded and it becomes unconscious, as we move into the second half of the Champions League, we should have a momentum. So really, it's the Champions League I expect to see us do well in, because in the Champions League, the new format, you get drawn against AFC, fuck all, cares about nobody, and then Real Madrid next week and stuff like that. So we should be able to get through that league format. Now, I'm gonna kick off with the main story. We're not going to keep you hanging around to the main one. Obviously, the LFC Firesale, number 1, and the one that this does frighten me. which is the Trent to Madrid thing. I know there's loads of people in the chat saying, "Oh, what happened?" But I've been around the Steve McManaman, what happened after he won us 2 finals. I've been around the Michael Owen, what happened at the key points. So, like there is something about Liverpool breaking through hot prospects actually ending up at Real Madrid. It's not a be all. It doesn't happen. It does happen. There is a history of it happening. Menti, for you, can you see it? Are you worried about it? Where are you at?
Like on the previous streams, we've literally talked about Trent going to Madrid. I'm a fan now. I'm like, there's a certain price. If it's presented to Liverpool, they will sell him. I get these certain fans can't fathom that, but if he wants to go, he's gonna go. And usually when Madrid come knocking, it's gonna likely happen. I hope it doesn't happen. But for me, if it's Trent, like think about it, like he's been not terrible. He hasn't even got the opportunity to be in the English national team. So if he goes to Madrid, he's gonna fit in. He could be like a wing back. He could just play, no defense. He'll just be better. He'll be marketed better. For him and his family, it could be a super beneficial. But yeah, it could happen. If the price is right, FSG will sell him.
I think about how Real Madrid play with Camavinga, and he almost comes in from left back and plays left central midfield, and then they've got Tuchmeni, Bellingham, they've got Valverde, so they've got that mobile 6 that we ran on about who can cover the holes and stuff. I mean, we there's a couple of people worried. I think Trent out Frimpong really isn't that bad. For me, it is. We've got the youngest player to ever get to 3 Champions League finals, the highest assist maker in all of Premier League history at 25. For me, we should be building a team around Trent and his abilities and what he can do on the ball. Dylan, what about you? Are you chilled? Are you like, Frimpong, fine. We got Bradley. We've got players.
It does concern me a little bit because you read or you hear about his friendship with Bellingham and how close they are when they're at England together. So you've got to think, is he, saying, come to Madrid, they want you, come. And I think, like Menti said, if the right offer came in, I think FSG would be inclined to sell, especially with just 12 months left on his contract. And if he's not signed a new contract before the season starts, then, and an offer comes in, then they might be inclined to just say, yeah, do you know what? He's going on a free next summer unless he signs a new contract. And if he doesn't want to sign a new contract right now, then they might have to think we'll have to move him on to make sure we get something out of it. And I think that's the same worry with Salah. Salah's got 12 months left on his contract. And, is he going to sign? Is he not? Are we going to, lose him for free? But I do worry that he might get his head turned for Madrid. And, he's won everything he can with Liverpool. He's got nothing else he can win. And he might just fancy a bit of change of pace, go to Spain, win the league there, But yeah, I think
what worries me, Kev,
yeah,
is everyone's like, 120 million. Well, it's not going to be that. He's got 12 months left. We saw it with Owen. We saw it with McManaman. They were like low value deals, went well for the player. And Real Madrid can push that along and stuff like that. They just gave Mbappe a £70 million signing bonus. 100 million euros, sorry. £70 million, which they'll probably pay him over the next 25 years. But who cares? That's pension. That's sorted. So for me, there's something in it. Everyone's sort of going off for a price. But what's that price? Do you have a price? Kev Edwards, what's your price?
Me? I think
Edwards.
I think this is the biggest conversation that Arne Slot has got on his inbox as to the biggest conversation he's going to have is with Trent, because that will determine, and it's why Real Madrid are going to hover all transfer window to find out what actually happens. What makes it more difficult for Trent is that he's come back after wanting to be part of a midfield and has come back from an international duty where he's hardly played and has been absolutely ridiculed when he's played there. That plays in Liverpool's favour. However, it comes down to what Slot's positional sense for him and what defensive duties he will have, if any, and it will determine what Trent does. And based on that conversation, will then be based at Liverpool. They'll then either sell him or will offer him a new contract. That's what it will come down to. And it's the biggest conversation you've got. You can talk about Virgil, you can talk whoever. This is the biggest one we've got because you are dealing with the player who is, if he goes to Madrid, will undoubtedly be. Everyone will be ridiculing Southgate and they'll be ridiculing Liverpool manager who actually got rid of him because he will go out there and he will absolutely do what Bellingham's done. And that's why I think they will be hovering to see what happens. And that's the biggest conversation you've got this summer. Nothing else matters. It all comes down to that. And we are intrigued to see that first game where he plays as to where we're going to play him next season and see if it's any different to what Southgate had tried to do with him. So for me, there's no number you can put on it at the minute. I know there's 12 months left on his contract, but for me, you're losing one of the best passers of the ball, most assists in the Premier League. You can't just go out and buy someone to replace that. You can't. You'll get someone who's more defensive, but then everyone will be harping on, well, we need someone who's good as Trent. Well, we've had them and we've lost them. I don't want to lose him. I don't think we will, but it's the biggest conversation that Slot is going to have before a decision. And once that's being made, that's when the decision will be made as to whether we sell him or not.
If they offer 70 million, he's gone. We've got, and this one shocks me. Bradley is way better all-round right back than Trent. Trent can't defend, and it's a narrative that I unfortunately I think you've been sucked into, because when you look at him statistically from a defensive perspective, and you can say eye test and all that and stuff like that, yeah, it's fine. He might get beaten once a game. Walker gets beat twice a game. Right, you can look at every statistic for the last 3 seasons defensively, apart from one. He has one weakness, and I've said it on stream multiple times. He's shit in the air. For a guy that's over 6 foot, he's terrible in the air and he loses most of his aerial duels. But everything else, recoveries, ball recoveries, tackles, dribbles, number of times stops being dribbled past and stuff like that. He's better than everyone, but people would just go, oh, because that's the narrative that some media came out with, and everyone's gobbled it up and gone, oh yeah, that's got to be it. It's not. Now, Menti, for you, is there a number? Is there something where you'd be like, yeah, all right, 50 mil, that'll do. We can invest that in something else. 60 mil, average 70 mil, 80, 85.
I don't know. I saw someone that said Real Madrid in the comments aren't going to pay that because
85
United paid 62 million for a Euro. I was like, first of all, don't ever compare Euro to Trent. Trent, like you said, all this stuff. He's been to 3 Champions League finals at a young age. He's won one. It's like Trent is crazy. He's like a generational player. But for me, well, not for me. FSG, I say anywhere like 80 million and up. I feel like I could see them. If he doesn't want to sign it and if he wants to go, we can't stop him. He has 1 year left.
Everyone knew Trent was going when he cried in the last year in the game. Trent will be appreciated in Madrid. He's criticised in England. I think Trent is a better defender than Kyle Walker. Kyle is only faster. I completely agree with that. Trent will be the best right back in the world at Madrid, and I think he's the best right back in the world currently. It's just, I think, and this might be the thing that gets to him, Dylan. There's so much hate for Trent in the media in England that if you go play for Real Madrid, it will be, so much will be written about Mbappe, so much will be written about Bellingham, so much will be written about, all the star players in Galacticos, and he will just get the same when he does something amazing like a free kick or a pass. And I think Real Madrid will know how to market him better than Liverpool do, which is scary, isn't it? Moving on from Trent, because everyone's a bit... The other one that's up in the air is Van Dijk. He put out a weird statement, didn't he, Dylan? He put out this weird statement sort of saying, when it's been this big emotional time and stuff like that, you've got to come away and you've got to reflect and you've got to work out what you're going to do and stuff like that. Now, It can be interpreted two ways, which is he wants a full-on change, he wants to change club, and he may be retiring from international football, or he's going to retire from international football, fully focus on Liverpool and everything that goes on with that. How did you read that statement?
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's he said he didn't know what was going to happen at club or international level. Personally, I looked at it like you said, he might retire from international football to concentrate on club career, like so many others have done. But it was a bit, to me, I read it as he doesn't know what's happening at club level because new manager, new setup. He doesn't know what's going to go on. Maybe he's thinking maybe the club would want to move him on, which I can't imagine that would happen. But you don't know. It is a bit of a worry if he was to want to leave. But again, he's won it all. He's done everything he can at Liverpool. And if he fancies a change in a different league, different country, then, so be it. But it is a bit, again, it's a bit of a worry, isn't it? Because if you're losing your best players all at the same time, you've got essentially a massive rebuild on your hands. And, where do you go for those players?
Yeah, and we've got Derek here, Kev, saying, Van Dijk was a heat of the moment comment. Now that's twice he's made heat of the moment comments that have alluded to things not being, and I get he's probably weighing it all up in his head. He's not done anything, but he's still it's still a big moment for Slot, isn't it? This is your captain. You've come in. Yeah. How does he get him on board, Kev? How does he sort of, apart from obviously I'm Dutch, you're Dutch, friends, how does he get him thinking I want to lead under this?
Well, before the Euros, he'd already made contact with Virgil anyway, and Virgil kind of knew where he was going. I think the problem you've got is that in the very heat of the moment, he's been asked a question, and I do think to some extent it may have been taken out of context of the way. But I just think it's just the international level he's looking at getting rid of. There's no way in this world that he's not part of our plans, or he hasn't had the discussion. He's the captain of the club. He knows what's going on. I just think it's a way of him purposely focusing on a new contract and pushing that into a degree to go, well, I'm not happy with, but it's typical Dutch. They play with their emotions on the chest, and there's a bit of that going on. I'm not too concerned. I'm not worried. I expect him to come back. Yeah, well, there's nothing to worry about. He's come out and said something. I think a lot of people have an opinion on it. I don't necessarily do. I think it's the heat of the moment. He's been asked questions after a very sour game in which he's trying to get him to react to the referee. He's conscious of that, and then he's being asked about, well, how do you feel about this? And he's then put himself in a position in which he's thought the only way to get out of it is by saying this, and then everyone's jumped on it and have taken it the way that they want. It's entirely how you want to take it. For me personally, I am not that disheartened. I'm not that critical. I'm not even that worried. I think he comes into the fold, not a problem, and you'll see him when he comes back off his holidays, smile on his face, walking in, bopping in. Happy, everyone's happy. I may be wrong, and I hope I'm not. But there's your clickbait for you already.
But I mean, it's all right to be emotional in these things. This is the thing. I think he's not said anything definitive.
He hasn't said anything out of order. Do you know what I mean?
He's just saying how he's feeling. Like he's got to go away and he's got to reflect. And actually, it's good self-care practice to, when something bad happens, to go away, reflect, work out what you're going to do, and then come back and think about it a different way. So I think from that perspective, it's just as Liverpool fans and other fans of other clubs want to find ways to poke the bear, don't they?
But we like to read into things a lot more than what's actually being said. We think there's more. It's like 60 chess after times with statements that are coming out from journalists, from players. It kind of makes me think that I think we just need to take it as, and it's probably a bit naive on my part, and because I'm old, I just take things as the way it's read. I don't look for, little coded messages that there may be in there. There may not be. It's just he's looking to reflect, and it's a time to reflect. He's just had a hard season. Is Holland, the way the Dutch finished is exactly how Liverpool finished. Started the tournament well and ended and fizzled out. And that takes a lot out of you as you get older. And at the age of 33, he's asking questions of himself and whether he can pull himself through those those kind of emotions again and whether he can. And it may mean that he has to move away from either the international duty or away from the club. But that's down to him. I don't see it as him leaving Liverpool. I just see it as him just having a reflection and going away. It's a bit like Rory McIlroy when he should have won the PGA Golf. Everyone's still asking him now, 4 weeks later, as to, oh my God, and is he going to do it in the Open this week? I think we just need to just chill a little bit more, because you're asking players at the wrong time. I think in a week later, I think you would have got a different answer from Virgil, personally.
Hit the likes for Kev. Now, if you are new here, we go live every day. And we're not saying like LFC Firesale and stuff like that. There's a couple of you saying, oh, we're genuinely just having a discussion about who Liverpool could sell, because we believe, based on Edwards and past and what we've seen, that actually we're going to sell some players before we buy some players, because we don't want to find ourselves in a wage deficit. Yes, we got the Thiago money, but Nat Phillips is back in the building, and that's 60 grand a week wasted. Unless it's going to be Slot's solution, sell Van Dijk, play Nat Phillips. Could you imagine? No. But one question I've got for the chat and for everyone here, and if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and stuff like that, is Van Dijk turned 33 last week. So on the 8th of July, he turned 33. Now, when I watched him playing for Holland and stuff like that, there was no sprinting, there was no going back, there was nothing like that. He was just controlling the game, dictating the play, pushing everything forward, distributing, a bit like how Thiago Silva's been playing it for Chelsea and stuff like that. So he's got a year left on his contract. It would take him to 34. Menti, how many years would you offer? You're Mickey Edwards here, and you're like, right, let's whack an offer on the table. How many years are you going? Are you taking him to 37? Taking him to 35?
Maybe 36, because I just don't want him to leave on a free. I still think he got 2 good years in him, but I just hate what FSG do sometimes, is they always leave on a free. But no, I think Virgil got a couple good years in him left. Same with Salah. Just give him I think Salah's going to sign. I've been seeing the training videos and everything. So 2 to 3 years for both of them would be, I think, fine.
We're getting 2 to 3 years. We've got to sell Salah, Van, Trent, and Diaz. Someone just wants to burn the bridge down. Dylan, how many years are you giving him? Are you going to give him a 5-year deal? See him till he's
2 to
38?
3. Keep him, give him a lifetime contract, to be honest. No, but seriously though, 2 to 3 years, definitely. And then you review it then on a season by season basis, depending on what he wants to do. I think that is probably the best solution. Like Menti said, you don't want to see him go on a free either. So you give him that 2 to 3 year contract, and if he decides he wants to go, or he doesn't fit into the team, or there's a different centre back coming in, then you've got the option to sell, but definitely not, and no less than 2 or 3 years. Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of 2s. Yeah, Kev, there's a lot of 35. I think I'd probably go 3 to 36 if it was me. I think he can do it till he's 36, because he can transition down. And I think you can have a clause in his contract. Liverpool are very incentive-based contracts, aren't they? So if he's not good enough to play, then, he's on 235 a week now?
Something like that, yeah. I would be offering him a Pardew contract, 8 years. No, personally, I agree with the lads. It has to be a 2 to 3 year. And, it gives you the option then, as the lads have said, to move on if and as and when it needs to.
So I think what we're saying is 2 years with an option to extend for a year. An option for Liverpool to use to extend if they want to do it. Because at the same time, there's not going to be massive resale value apart from maybe Saudi Arabia. And it looks like, it looks like Van Dijk might be that type of player that we play until he retires. Salah's that player that we, stay with us until they retire and stuff like that. And there's no harm in having players that stick around. There is one. I know many of you in the chat have gone no chance. But the Alisson to Saudi Arabia, a mega offer, that does bug me a little bit, Menti. And the reason it bugs me is because the way Edwards funded the rebuild for Alisson coming in, for Van Dijk coming in, stuff like that, was he sold a megastar for a boat ton of cash. And he only sold one, but we have a megastar in Alisson, 31 years old, 1992, could play for comfortably another 6 years as a goalkeeper, 6-7 years. So if there's a player that could get a mega offer that could fund everything that Edwards wants to do, and Saudi Arabia are sniffing around Alisson, as it's been reported in multiple different things, that could be a player that could get sold for a lot of money, and that does bug me a little bit. What about you? Are you more chilled, or are you thinking there could be something in this one?
For me, I'm a little bit more chill on Alisson, just because when you think of a Saudi deal, he's fairly young for a keeper, and I say he's the best keeper in the world, and he could keep playing at Liverpool for as long as he wants. But I just don't see it. Like, you got to think about his family. He's a Christian dude from Brazil, so his family adjusts to that environment over there. So that's like, there's a lot of factors into that. And in terms of a megastar, I think it'd rather be Trent if he has to sell anyone rather than Alisson. But I just don't see Alisson going.
I don't know if you. This is the thing. I think if you're trying to keep the fans on board, Menti, would you not keep Trent? Keep the Scouser?
Nah. I get the Scouser thing, but there's just, what if he wants to go? That's the thing.
Yeah.
We're saying, okay, we want him to stay. I know a lot of Scouts people want him to stay, but at the end of the day, they got to have that conversation. And if he wants to go, like if Bellingham is chirping, then Mbappe starts chirping, and people could poke him. I hope he stays, but it's more likely him than Alisson. I just don't see Alisson's family wanting to make that move.
I think it makes Slot's job a lot harder if Trent makes noises to go, because I think fans will go a different direction. In terms of Slot a lot quicker, because you couldn't even convince, you should have gone for someone bigger, should have got a bigger name, should have done this, should have done that, couldn't even keep hold of Trent. Alisson, are you worried, Dylan, or are you just completely I can't see it?
Nah, same as Menti, really. I don't see Alisson leaving. I think someone said it themselves.
I think this is a really good point as well.
Yeah, big. That's. I think he's still young enough to play at a top level. I think someone said that if it was an outfield player, you'd see it happening. But for a goalkeeper at 31, he's still, like you said, best goalie in the world. And I don't see him heading off soon. I don't think he leaves. I think there's more chance that Keller leaves than Alisson. But then again, if Alisson does leave, then we've got Kelleher. So, he's stepped up last season when he had to. So I think either way, but no, I'm not worried about him leaving. I think Alisson stays, definitely.
Kev, I know everyone's like, Kelleher, but I was watching some of the behind-the-scenes training, and Jaros is a monster. And I like goalkeepers to be a monster. Like, he's huge, he's big, and obviously he's just won the league with strong grats. I don't know if he's good enough for Liverpool. I hope we see him some point in pre-season.
Hopefully.
But what are you thinking, Kev? Keep him? That what happened?
I think you keep the best keeper in the world. As for Coutinho wanted to go. I hope his back's all right at his new club. And we wouldn't have won the league, and we wouldn't have achieved what we would have done if we never sold him. Because we don't get Alisson, which was the best goalkeeper in the world, and we didn't get the best centre back in the world. People want to leave. We've got the right person, the director box, who will sell them for the price that we want to get them. Alisson, no, you don't sell. You keep hold of. And I think Slot has to show the ambition to the players that are coming to the end of the contracts at the minute. So the likes of Virgil van Dijk, the likes of Trent, as I've mentioned, to keep them on board and show them what the ambition is, and show them not only where they fit, but what new players are coming in. And that will determine who wants to stay and who wants to go. What's the only critique I have for Alisson, and I hope that improves, is his injuries. And I hope with the new medical staff that are coming in, we see less of those niggling injuries that see him out of the team for about 4 to 5, maybe even 8 weeks at a time. So it's one of them that I'm more intrigued on, is how our medical team are under Slot compared to what it was under Klopp.
Yeah, and well, the goalkeeper. There's a new goalkeeping coach, and if you watched any of the Inside Liverpool training, I think what I really like, and I'd love to give it a go, is he's been putting headphones on them, and he's been putting glasses on so that it restricts your vision. And I think as a goalkeeper, like in training and stuff like that, obviously it tends to be quite a clear field. You can see the ball getting kicked. So restricting your vision is a lot like legs in a box and stuff like that. You know, you can't hear anything because of the crowd noise, so you can't hear the ball being struck, and therefore power. I think it's a really interesting way of coaching, and I'd love to give it a go just to see what it's like. But
these are the interesting tweaks that we're seeing already. We've got rid of the Lassiter test and brought in the 6-minute test that he's brought in. There's one thing that Slot's done, is he's also done is, I know I've mentioned a few times, he's measured in what he's doing. He's not only looking at how we play, but he's also looking at the training and how we train and how we can adapt and put his basis on it. But no, it's fascinating what we're already seeing already in just little over a month as to what he's already tweaking and how things are changing. And I hope it's a bit more refreshing than for the players this season than what it was last season, because you're coming back to the same old, you know what you're doing, a new manager, new ideas. It's great, isn't it, James?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing with the insider training is he seems to be getting on with everyone. You know, from the off, there's very little. He's not a shouter. He's not a screamer. He's not like that overly passionate Klopp style. He's very smiley, happy Dutch, but then we'll have a serious conversation with you. He won't like shout and scream at you, but he'll have that right. Do this, do that, like, and a bit of a coaching conversation as opposed to that leadership conversation, which is really interesting.
It's more involvement. It's probably more involvement that Klopp necessarily does. I think he left that to the likes of Pep Linders and stuff. But to have your manager to be able to stop the game and go, right, well, I want you to do this, X, Y, and Z, it kind of gives them a refreshing, well, okay, right, so he does know what he's talking about kind of thing. So, and it's good how he is, and he's got a bit of character. He's not taking himself too seriously. He's not being boisterous. He's not doing anything. I think the talks he's had with the man, with Klopp, already, and you know, the few things that he's already done, I'm impressed in what I'm seeing at the minute, and you know, that's why I'm happy to be as patient as what I am, James.
Yes, Paul, constantly black coffee with vodka. No, just black coffee, because I have no energy, and therefore I need injected energy, because Kev's been dodging me for the last few weeks. He's been going on demo stream on a Thursday, so I have no one to sort of give me energy. Menti, we're going to move on. Sepp van der Berg. Now, I've put in the title to PSG. It's not to PSG, it's to PSV. 20 million. I had really high hopes for him, and it's seemingly like Edwards is going, well, I'm not selling him for 20 million, so you're going to have to pay a lot more than that. But we've been waiting for Sepp van der Berg to get given a chance for a while, and there's a lot of noise about him being sold and touted around a lot of clubs, so it seems like he might not be getting that opportunity. It seems like he might want to leave, because there's no reason Slot would be like, nah, get out straight away. What are you thinking on Sepp van der Berg? Do you think he'll go to PSV? Bit of a... I know what Lindo's going to write in chat. Lindo's going to write, oh yeah, you send us Weefer, we'll give you Sepp van der Berg, or Hankel or someone like that. But what are you thinking on Sepp? Is he going to get a chance in pre-season, or is he just the first one to get some cash in the bank and get things going because no one's going to pay for bloody Nat Phillips at 60 grand a week?
I think he's going to get sold. I just don't know when. It's just, we signed him back in 2019 when we won the Champions League. So like, I think we're a bit past that trust the process part for him. I know a lot of Liverpool fans are saying, oh, we got to give him a chance. Edwards is back. He's ruthless. If he can make you money, it's likely going to be him. And I think PSV will crack before we do. So I think he will be sold.
Dylan, do you Do you think he'll get a few games in pre-season, just a final chance to flip the narrative, or to sell Van Dijk, bring in Van der Berg?
No, I think he'll definitely get a chance. I think they all will. I think that's where he'll make sort of decisions on who he wants to keep and who he wants to get rid of. But I do see him ending up leaving this summer. I think he'll get a chance, but yeah, he'll probably leave. Like Menti said, we signed him in 2019. I think he's only played in a couple of League Cup games. Both of them in that first season. So I think he has played a couple of pre-season games here and there. But yeah, I think he'll play. He'll get a chance. He'll start probably first 1 or 2 games. He'll make an appearance, but then after that, I think we won't see him. He'll either be sold, or if he's not sold, he'll probably go out on loan again.
Well, what we're going to do to finish the stream, and just to really put you guys in the ringer and everyone in chat, and if you are new here, please like and subscribe to the channel. We are going to pick from the Liverpool squad, the Liverpool Firesale, 3 players we think, not we would, but we think may get sold. So I'm not going to say you're going to say they need to go, they need to go, they need to go. Just who you think may get sold off to make room in our squad to spend 90 million on Anthony Gordon, to make room for 100 million spend on Sickman and all these other players that we're linked with. And let us know in the chat, what 3 players do you think Liverpool are going to get rid of to make room in the squad? I know we've already got rid of Thiago. I know we've already got rid of Adrian, but I think Jaros is the replacement for Adrian straight away because the guy looks like a monster. But what 3 players, because it's Liverpool way, balance the books, squad numbers are squad numbers. What 3 players do you think we're going to get rid of? We've got Lindo straight in with Sepp van der Berg, Curtis Jones, and Fabio Carvalho. We've got Sepp van der Berg, Kostas, and Kelleher. Sepp van der Berg, Carvalho, and Kelleher. Kev?
It's
I can't believe you
kind of agree with. No,
I
agree with Derek and I agree with Jay Moose, but I think it's more likely going to be Jay Moose, which is Sepp van der Berg, Carvalho, and Kelleher.
We've got Van der Berg is lightweight and Jones is overrated. Phillips, Jones. I don't think anyone's paying that money for Phillips, by the way. Sepp van der Berg, Carvalho, and thanks. Menti, for you, 3 players you think are gonna be gone?
Kelleher, Sepp van der Berg, and my sleeper is Andy Robertson.
Oh.
We need a new left back.
Love it, Menti. Love it.
We've got Morton, Kelleher, and Gomez. Do you think Gomez might actually get some offers? That's an interesting guess, actually. I think there's a couple of clubs that are going to be circling around Joe Gomez and thinking they can get a decent centre-back for a decent price. Villa linked a few times. That's an interesting one, actually, Red Sabby.
Absolutely, it is.
Lucho as well. We've got that in the chat. Diaz being linked, and obviously, we've been linked with left wings because obviously we need a left wing, but it seems to be the thing. What about for you, Dylan? 3 that are going.
Yeah, I think Tsimikas, Van der Berg, and I was also going to say Kelleher as well. I've had this thing in my head about Kelleher all pre-season, thinking that he wants to play, and I think the Island manager said he needs to be playing week in, week out, not just on the bench and playing when Alisson's injured or playing cup games or whatever. But yeah, Gomez is another one that like you said, Villa were interested, I think. So yeah, I'm going to go with Tsimikas, Kelleher, and Gomez maybe.
I want to go big. I'm not going to
go big or go on.
I'm not going to go big. Tyler Morton, because Tyler Morton doesn't play in this squad yet, so he's got to earn the right. So I'm going to go Luis Diaz. I think he'll go. I think that Gomez will go, and I don't want Gomez to go because I really think of him as a really good Van Dijk backup. I think he wants the game time, and I'm not gonna bail out on Kelleher either. I'm gonna go with a loan that no one's gonna like. I reckon Bajcetic goes on loan to a lower Premier League club for a season, because I think he's been away for a year and I think he needs to rebuild, and I don't think he can rebuild at Liverpool. I think he probably needs top Championship, lower Premier League season. So I'm going 3 relatively. Everyone's saying like Bajcetic in our chat is the solution to all problems in the world. But yeah, I'll go Diaz, Gomez, and Bajcetic. But Bajcetic's on loan, not on a transfer for a season. More, we've got Diaz, Kelleher, Gomez, Diaz, Gomez, Salah. Sell Tyler Morton also, yeah. James, are you mad? Yes, but that's a completely different conversation. Bash may be starting week 1. We've not seen him for a year, but he's definitely starting. He's had a serious injury, has needed over a year to recover, but that guy is going to be starting because that's how this works, because it's Football Manager. I mean, come on.
James, you put a bit of common sense to it, to be honest. You've put a bit of common sense to the Baz one, which I think a lot of people have. I see where you're coming from with that. I think the interesting one that everyone's putting is Gomez, because he does have a decision to make.
I think it's Gomez's decision, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Salah, I was saying all last year would be gone. All last year, every stream, Salah's gone in the summer. Salah's gone in the summer. He's not showing me that he's going yet, and there's been very little noise. I think if noise came, I think he'd go, but I'm assuming the noise isn't there. What were you saying, Dylan?
Yeah, no, I was just to say what Kev said about Gomez having a decision to make, because if Tsimikas does leave, in Gomez, we've got someone that can play along the whole back four, and I wouldn't want to see him go, because we saw him play at left back last season. And he was very good at left back when he played there. So I'm just thinking, Gomez would fit in and he'd be cover for the full back line whenever we needed him. It's just I know he probably wants to be playing week in, week out, not just when Robertson's injured or when there's a cup game that they don't need Van Dijk or whoever for. But yeah, that I think if we can keep hold of Gomez, it'd be a big thing. I think.
Do any of you think that the issue may be that he's too versatile and he actually wants to play in one position rather than the 3, and he wants to embed that? That's the thing I think is part of his decision. I don't know if anyone agrees or wants to add to that.
It's the Carragher problem,
I agree with
it?
you.
So the reason Carragher never really got in the England squad, because he was just he was always selected, but he never played because he was 6 out of 10 at multiple positions, but never 10 out of 10 because obviously Terry and Ferdinand were better. I'm not going to sit here and say Carragher was better than those two because I don't think he was. But it's the bridesmaid problem. I think Gomez has it, and if a club comes in and says we're going to make you our number 1 centre back, like if Villa came in and went, it's going to be you, Diego Carlos, and Konza, and you 3 are going to be the rotational centre backs, or Pau Torres. It's difficult to say no to that, I think, for him, because I think he wants to embed a position.
I thought Brighton might have been a club he may have gone to under De Zerbi, but De Zerbi's gone now, hasn't he? So I don't know whether he'd go abroad, but Brighton always seemed to be a club I would always think would be linked with him.
Yeah, so I think the Luis Diaz is way too much noise for it not to happen, and that's my only rationale for it. He's on 50 grand a week with us, so he's not paid big wages.
Where do you think he's going to go? He's not going to Barca because they can't afford it. He's not going to go to PSG because they don't want him. He's staying.
I don't know where he'd go, but he could go to Saudi, Menti, and earn.
I don't think so. I think
a factor of 5 more than he's getting at the moment. He's getting 50 grand a week.
I think the reason I think the reason why he's been chatting a little bit is just because he's on 55 and you're seeing all these players. I mean, I think he's pretty good, but I think he's worth at least like 100. There's many players on this squad that are getting paid.
I'll be honest, Menti. I don't think his stats show me that he's deserved to be on that amount. I think he's still got 3 years left on his contract. So it puts us in a very strong position, and he needs to start upping his numbers if he wants to start earning the likes of 100 and 130 grand a week. I think the decision on Diaz may not necessarily be this summer. I think it'll carry on till January time, and it'll be whether Gordon signs a contract with Newcastle, and then that will send a domino effect, and then we will see who's interested in them for him. But I think Diaz, he's still got 3 years left, so I think it puts us in a very strong position to ask for more from him, and he needs to do more for me, especially in his end product. It's all very well having the 6. I want to see some end product at the end of it.
Why do you like Anthony Gordon?
To be honest, I'm undecided on Gordon. I think he's got the energy. I think that what makes it different is that there's more potential in a young player in Gordon who's 22 than a player who's 27 and is meant to be already in his peak. I think the steps that Lucho's got are less than what Gordon can achieve if he comes in, and he fits the Liverpool profile of not buying someone who's actually an out-and-out player, but has it got the potential to get to the world-class level that we're expecting. And I think there's more in that. And that's why if you look at the data-driven, he's not that far away, if not similar to what Lucho is at the minute on output. And I do think that can get further if he comes to a bigger team than what he's necessarily at. Whereas Diaz is in his peak and is not showing. And I think his next level, I can't see him going again to get where I think he should be at already. I don't know if you agree or not, but
no. It makes sense. I agree with you. I just think for some of these players, a new coach might be really beneficial. Like, I just feel like Pep Linder's training, that it's just me. It's just been declining for like 2-3 years. The style of play, I just think we could literally just see different players in like Lucho, Gakpo, Darwin, even Szoboszlai. So I just feel like a change is going to be good for our new players. But yeah, I do agree with you. Just give him maybe one more year before making the decision, maybe January, see if his numbers go up. But the Gordon one makes sense.
I think the thing I've got with Diaz, Kev, is he was asked to play a role where his job was to progress the ball from the halfway line to the edge of the box. And he was running the ball, but he wasn't running in positions to score. I think depends on how Slot progresses the ball forward for me as to whether or not he gets himself in more dangerous positions. Because I don't think he was in dangerous positions because most of his work was that ball progression stuff.
No, I agree with that, but then you also then look at the defensive mindsets of the players as well.
Yeah,
and there's more energy in Gordon getting back than what necessarily it is in Lucho getting back, and it looks more half-hearted from Diaz than what you would get with someone who's more into a pressing style of playing that Gordon is.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go for Gordon as my option. I would go for Frimpong.
Another option.
I think
Nico Williams.
I know we're not going to get Nico Williams. We're not going to spend 200 grand a week on Nico Williams. Whereas Frimpong, I think, is a right wing back, so he's playing as a right winger, bit like what Mane was, playing as a right winger at Southampton, and Liverpool bought him, moved him, put him to a position where he can just cause chaos. To me, I think that's. But I think Liverpool are interested in the Gordon thing for the Liverpudlian thing and to build a core and a thing. So I wouldn't be upset if we signed Gordon. It's just I've got a big thing for Frimpong. I think he could cause absolute chaos if he's moved up just a millimetre more and potentially put us in a position to attack. Because he got 11 goals and 13 assists from right wing back, and we say right wing back, we mean right wing. So it's someone to back up Salah. It's someone to learn a new role. I think there's something in that for me. If his release clause is £35 million, £40 million. For me, that's better value than 80 million on Gordon at this moment in time. But that's
He might be our first signing.
Yeah. Gordon is much quicker as well. Yeah, I think we do need pace, actually. I think because Salah's lost pace, I think we've got that. Gordon's much quicker, which Derek says on chat. I think Salah's lost a yard of pace, which you'd expect. He's 30 odd. And I think Núñez has got pace, but he doesn't have control with pace. Like Mane had control with pace, Salah had control with pace. Núñez has got pace. He can get there. And I think what we need Núñez to do is not be the get-out ball, but be the person arriving at the box at absolute pace. And so I think we do. I think you're right, Derek. I think we do need another player, whether it's Gordon, whether it's Frimpong, that can be the person that gets the ball so that Núñez, Szoboszlai, and Salah can be late in the box, and one of them is free to score the goal. So I think Diaz isn't quick enough to play that progressive thing, and therefore
James,
it goes to
do you reckon Salah has shaved his head to get more streamlined and aerodynamic to get one step of speed back? Do you think? Just a thought.
I don't know. It didn't really affect Cucurella, did it? You know, he was quick in that Spain squad, and he has a lot of drag.
I'll tell you one thing though: if that would have been Trent defending and not Walker, it would have been, people would have been going on about it.
Still. Only 5 of the 6 goals at fault for, but best defender best right back defender in Premier League history. Yeah. Right, so this has been players Liverpool that we think are going to go. Trent, it's the biggest conversation Slot's got when he comes back from the Euros. Obviously, Real Madrid will be going, come to us, maybe give it a year and then come to us and we'll give you a massive signing on fee. We'll make you, we'll set you up for life and stuff like that. Or you can sign a contract with Liverpool, speak to Arne Slot. I think there's a big conversation to have. I think the chat have been really clever, actually, talking about Alisson and how devout he is in terms of Christianity and stuff like that, and maybe not wanting to go to the Middle East for those reasons. And I think there's a lot of logic in that. Van der Berg, we think, will get sold. Salah, we think, is going to stay. I think the main players we think that may leave, Kelleher, potentially Joe Gomez has a decision to make. And I've completely forgotten. I've completely blanked.
Van der Berg.
Van der Berg. Not to PSG, but to PSV. Thank you very much to Kev, Menti, and Dylan for joining us. This is LFC Transfer Room. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We go live every day at 7:30. We went live during 7 o'clock during the Euros, which completely threw off my eating calendar. But thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.